Welcome to this sound meditation and healing. Relax into a space of receiving healing sounds and frequencies that will assist your nervous system in feeling safe to allow in healing and realignment to yourself. You are pure awareness. You already know. Trust in your awareness and wisdom to guide you deeper into your body, where we can release and clear stored tension, lies you have told yourself, emotional density, stress, fears, and the energies that pull on you. Let's begin. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths through the nose. Bring your attention to your heartbeat, the very first sound of your incarnation. Dropping into your heartbeat. Letting yourself drift deeper and deeper into your heart. Letting go of passing thoughts. Let your wisdom remind your body what safety feels like. It is safe to allow your wisdom. It is safe to allow release and healing.
Hi there, welcome to another Sound Healing Conference presentation. Today we have Jamie Liu. Hi, Jamie.
Hi there, David.
Welcome, welcome. I'm still recovering or re-centering in my soul song from last year. Okay, Jamie Liu is an intuitive sound shaman, world renowned for working with difficult illnesses after healing herself from a heart condition and Hashimoto's disease at age 24. She left a successful career in technology to pursue a sudden calling that led to her gifts in healing the body, clearing the mind, and reuniting the spirit with infinite love and wisdom. Her knowledge of sound alchemy comes from past life mastery and connection to infinite consciousness, angelics, and guardian alliances. She mentors and guides others in her mentorship programs and individual sessions. Jamie Liu is involved with in Earth Guardian councils around the globe, and is on the board of the Sound Medical Association. What you been up to lately?
Blissing out as usual.
What's that?
Just blissing out as usual.
Uh huh. Uh huh. You're living in Mount Shasta now?
I am. I'm living in Mount Shasta and doing the work here, and it's been wonderful. Life is
Mm-hmm.
so good.
Uh
Can,
huh.
can you hear me okay?
Uh huh. Fine. Yeah. Yeah. It broke up for 1 second, but it's cool. So here's the big question: see if it's changed from last year. If you had all the money in the world, what would we? How could we help the planet?
I'd share it.
Share
And
it.
wealth is meant to be shared.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Absolutely share it. And there's so many ways in which we can delegate, funnel that money, channel that wealth and resource to the various projects that the healers, the wisdom keepers, the teachers, the ones who are exploring infinite consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
that we've been hard at work on, you, me included, David,
Uh huh.
um, that we can make very good use of funding to steward the new.
It's interesting how a few people have said this. There's so many people doing amazing things that you really don't have to come up with anything else, hardly. Just to fund the amazing projects that people have been working on or been thinking about that could, I mean, feed the whole planet, right? Heal every disease. I mean, and not to mention just get people really high.
It's all there. It's
Yeah.
all there. And to your point, it's already here. Okay.
Hmm.
It's already in each of us. You jokingly said to get high, that source of the highness, the high frequency, the joy, the bliss, that is in us. It's already there. And so the reflection of that is, yeah, we've already got boots on the ground. We've got people activated and awakened, if you will, to what we could be creating and what we are creating, but
Uh-huh.
there's so much more, and we already have it. We already have the solutions.
Hmm.
Okay. It's
Uh-huh.
already here. We don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Uh-huh.
And
Cool. Cool.
it's just now a matter of nurturing that.
Nice. Okay, so tell us about your presentation.
Oh, well, I've got some really fun and exciting information to share. It's mostly being sourced from the client sessions I've been involved with this year. So I want to keep the conversation very relevant to what's happening right now on the earth, especially in regards to our collective awakening. And um, this year, I've just been meeting with people privately in session, dealing with a lot of uncertainty, fear, um, doubt, and especially uncertainty around what's going to happen next, right? Where am I supposed to be in the world? Is it safe where I am? There's so much changing in the world. Also, am I safe um, from viruses, infection, right? Am I immune enough? There's just so much fear. And it really doesn't matter, like, if you've been on the path for a really long time. I feel like no one is truly immune to uh, to the world that we live in, right? and the narratives that are so popular and that are being, really amplified at this time. Like we live in relationship to this world. And the more that we wake up to the truth, we also realize we're not of this world. We're not of the fear and the doubt and the uncertainty. We're not of that. We are actually of something extremely precious and divine and powerful. We are of infinite consciousness. And when we start to awaken to that and realize that and embody that, which is where sound really plays a crucial part, um, it becomes easier and more graceful to navigate the world in its deep concern for itself, okay? In its fear and its breaking down, right? We're living in a time where a lot of these systems that we are taught to rely on and to depend on are crumbling, they're falling down. We can see it economically, we could see it in government, we could see it in healthcare. It's not hard to see. So it's especially prevalent when we look at the discussions people are having, and also the immense kind of separation and division that's playing out in the collective. So yeah, I've been busy. I've been busy this year. It's been the busiest year actually. Healing has been in very high demand, and it's for these reasons. The nervous system is kind of with dealing with a lot. And I myself, as a healer that's in service, I also need to let go and to shed and to really take care of my nervous system so I can take care of others. It's such an exciting time because the mastery, if you will, right? The mastery is on. It's on. So for this presentation, I'd really like to speak to specifically ways, really smart ways that we can fortify our frequency. This is why I'm calling this presentation The Frequency of You. It really has to do with um, your soul song, like we explored last year with David. We brought through his soul song in a spontaneous channel when we were talking in last year's presentation. And what your soul song is, and this is what I work to activate in people. It is the frequency of you. It's the, if you want to call it medicine, it's that. It's the true medicine within you. It's also the true light, the true reason for your incarnation, the purpose of you being here at this time right now. There's a song to that. There's very specific rhythms and flows, as well as musical notes that are circulating in this thing we call the soul. Okay, and so I'm speaking from a level of consciousness as well as energy. This is the part where our language cannot grasp. Because it's not a language. The soul isn't a language of words. It's actually a language of energy. And beyond that, it's a language of consciousness. So I'll do my best to articulate this and share this with all of you in this presentation. But really what is possible when we start to realize and embody the frequency of you, right? What happens is you are naturally fortified in your own energy. Your energy body becomes naturally fortified. It becomes pure and full of your own frequency. Okay. And this matters because this gives us the capacity to not just operate in this world with more grace and more clarity. This also gives us the capacity to withstand the negative effects of infection, viruses, any and all viruses. I'm going to speak to this specifically, as well as illness. There's there is so much that we are actually in control of, okay? We're not in control of what happens outside of us in the outer world. We're not in control with what happens for your daughter or for your partner or your neighbor. What we are in control of is our own physical well-being, spiritual well-being, emotional well-being. We are in control of that. We are in control of our consciousness. And it's really important to start connecting to your own consciousness, and dig deep to the point where we start actually resourcing from the song of the soul, the unique divine blueprint that we each have. Um, and I can explain it like this a little bit further. I'm going to use some visual aids here. So my beloved Seth Adam, we work together, and he creates this incredible geometry. It's very powerful. We call it the Omnicore, okay? And this is a tool, an energetic healing tool, as well as expansion tool that helps awaken us to infinite consciousness, helps get you to your frequency, your core frequency. So what we do is we meditate with it. And I'm going to show you this today because it really helps explain this language that I'm speaking about, the language of consciousness, and how we can tap into your soul song, okay? So this is what we are, essentially. If we wanted a visual, a geometry of us as pure awareness, okay, pure infinite consciousness beyond the form, this would be it. This is a model of everything, okay? You notice that this is the Janisa crystal here. The outer shape is shaped like the atom. Within this atom atomic shape is the codes to thrive. This is the consciousness, the patterns, the flows to really thrive. So you are pure awareness, okay? You are pure awareness. You have within you everything you need to thrive. Now, if you look at what's inside here, you see the spiral, okay? And this spiral, I'm going to show it to you here. It's a better visual here. So this spiral, this is how energy loves to move, okay? The consciousness of you and the consciousness of all of us moves in spirals and waves. So look at that right there. We have spiralic waves constantly. It's all around us, and it's all within us, and it's in everything, because consciousness is fundamental, right? It is it's like I see it psychically as almost like Russian stacking dolls. You first have consciousness, and then you have the physical world, right? The planets, the stars, the solar system is within that. And then within that, we go down even deeper into animals and people, and then the periodic table, the elements. Everything is within this substance. I guess you can say it's like a substance. At least this is the way it's presented to me, that we call consciousness. Okay, and I notice that it moves in these beautiful waves, and there is no there is no real I want to say like that you can't really predict, okay? It's not a predictable movement in these waveforms. They're just constantly moving and constantly spiraling. So that's us as a living consciousness. Everything in our reality is coming from that. It's coming from these waves. And if you look into our energy body, right, the chakras, this is what we have. We have these spirals, right? Inside of us, inside of our bodies, animating us all the time. That's consciousness, okay? So this is what it looks like, and it's actually animating and moving these spirals. I see it as moving up and down like this, going up and down from the top of your crown all the way to the bottom of your spine, and it's moving up and down, and that's life force. That's you living, breathing, spirit, right? You are pure awareness, okay? That's all that spirit is. It's absolute pure awareness. So you know how when we say, oh, I don't know, right? We say that all the time. This is where uncertainty comes from. I don't know. Everything's falling apart around me. I can't make plans anymore. I'm surrendering now to spirit. What do I, right? And so we're constantly feeling, we can constantly feel like this place of I don't know, and it can feel uncomfortable. And that's because it's not true. You actually do know. There is a part of you that knows and always knows, because that part of you is pure awareness. It's pure awareness, constantly moving, living, breathing. That's who you are. That's what you are. We're really freaking awesome, okay? And powerful, really powerful. So once we really start to realize this, you know, the divine stuff of what we're made of, that we truly are this living, animated, pure awareness of consciousness, that's where we start connecting with empowerment, like true empowerment, because now we can create shifts in our life, okay? We can create shifts, and we can create the things that we want, the things that we want to experience in life. So if it's more health, like, or a more resilient, healthy experience in your body, we can create that, because you are pure, infinite awareness. You are infinite consciousness. If we want to create more financial stability, wealth, in resources, we can create that. It's because of who and what you are. You already have within you the design to thrive, okay? It's already there. Now, the issue is, okay, the problem is that there are interferences, blocks, if you will, we call them blocks in the healing world, that can blind us or keep us from recognizing the truth of what we are. And there are blocks that keep us from feeling the truth of what we are. And there are blocks that keep us spinning, again, here in the spiral, keep us spinning in spirals that are spinning an illusion of what we are versus the truth of what we are. Okay? So when I'm in session with someone or whole group, what we're looking to achieve is we're looking to awaken the awareness of you, okay? The true awareness that you are, because you are pure awareness. You do know what the block is. You do know how to shift that block. You do know how to live with ease and grace as yourself, with the frequency of you, liberated, right? And that's what healing is looking to do, is we're just looking to remove these blocks, these interferences that blind us, that block us, that keep us spinning in loops of illusion versus the absolute alignment of you and your truth, your essential truth. Okay. And that's where your soul song comes into play, your soul song. Once we liberate you, the frequency of you from these blocks, your soul song can actually reveal itself. It can emerge and it can play and it can emanate throughout your waves of consciousness. And this is where things get really cool. It's like I've seen in my soul song session specifically, when clients start to really allow their soul, their heart, to express and to sing its song, without shame, without hiding or allowing the mind, the individual ego perspective, to interfere with that song. If they could just allow that song to fully emerge and be true, right? Be true, be shared generously, just emanate, emanate from your essential being, right? This is where miracles start to happen. This is where this profound, instant, at times, changes in one's life occur. And it doesn't have anything to do with you doing more, right? You having more, you doing more, you securing more, right? Or putting up more walls to protect you. It really has nothing to do with that. It has more so to do with your ability to surrender to the infinite consciousness within you. It's a state of being, right? It's a state of being authentic and true and no longer shackled with the fear and the shame and the regret of the past or the what have you, right? Or the resentment. So this is, it's not just a frequency. It really is you coming home to yourself, to that soul song, and realizing what that soul song means to you as an individual. And therein lies the key, if you will, that unlocks the rest. It's really quite amazing what happens when we can be still in our own essential beingness, and what comes into our lives due to that. Okay, and this is very different from manifestation. When we talk about creating our realities through manifesting, I know this is a very popular topic, but I also feel like there can be some dysfunction with that when we can actually look within and see the superpowers that we have inside and liberate them, again through removing these blocks, removing these fears. Then the song of the soul is really all you need to actualize the reality that you're calling in and that you're wanting. And that reality can absolutely be being completely free, completely invincible and immune to any outside, disease or viruses. That's really kind of been a big sharing among my clients. Is just so much fear around getting infected, not just from the COVID virus, but from other things as well. And there's also a very strong desire to heal the body and to heal oneself, to do that on your own, through understanding consciousness, right? Through understanding what we are on a fundamental level and making shifts from that, from that place. It's extremely powerful. So I call it healing with your source, right? Your source abilities, your source connection, healing with the also your awareness of what that is, okay? And your awareness of what gets in the way of that. So in the healing process, I'm going to speak specifically about viruses because this is where it gets, really, really interesting. So with viruses, this can be unraveled and healed completely from the body. We can eradicate viruses from a level of consciousness, utilizing sound as a tool to make the healing happen. And what I have found after having much success with eradicating the Epstein-Barr virus, as well as the herpes virus, I've seen from these two viruses that there is a fundamental grid, if you will, okay, a grid lock. It's a grid lock. In the same way I'm showing you geometries that spiral, right, and move organically. This is the way nature has designed it to be. When we spin illusions, it actually creates a different structure. It creates a structure that isn't in a spiral. It's in like a grid, and there's 90-degree angles. And this kind of energy presents to me, especially when we're dealing with fears and uncertainties and doubts within the person. And it's very important to release this gridlock of fear, doubt, and uncertainty, because this is the stuff that keeps and attracts viral consciousness, okay, viruses into your reality. So on a level of consciousness, viruses are really just parasites. Okay, I'm going to say that again because this was the key that really clicked in for me, and I saw the possibility of how to eradicate Epstein-Barr virus as well as herpes virus from people's bodies. So we need to understand that all viruses, and COVID is included in this, is parasitical. And it is fundamentally a parasitical consciousness. So viruses are intruders, they're invaders, and they need a host. They need a host to actually, be powerful and to be effective at what they do. So that's very much just like how a parasite operates. It needs a host, right? So on a level of consciousness, this also means that it needs your compliance, okay? All parasites, all viruses actually need your compliance, your conscious compliance for it to actually invade and coexist with you and do its thing, okay? Outside of you, it's actually extremely fragile, right? All viruses they're just made up of a lipid layer and DNA and RNA. It really is like an implant of programming, of consciousness that seeks to enter a host and implant itself and spread that consciousness within the host. And then what happens is that the host starts to believe that that piece of information, that consciousness, is coming from itself. And this isn't true at all. That's actually a parasite that's feeding you belief systems and programming and information that is serving. It is serving you in some way. Otherwise, we wouldn't have complied, right? There's always, whenever we comply on a level of consciousness, it's because we are agreeing to learning and growing experience. So this is what I've found to be especially true in Epstein-Barr virus, for example, EBV, which is something I personally went through. So this is how how I know this. With EBV, that holds a grid of a consciousness grid of attack. Okay, so with EBV, at a very young age, and we tend to get this virus at a young age, unknowingly complied, meaning some part of me, some part of my consciousness and in my sphere, right? This is me as a consciousness. So I'm living as a sphere of light. In my sphere, I wanted to learn, something and grow as a consciousness here on Earth. So in the learning and growing, I made an agreement with this parasitical entity we'll call EBV to teach me. And that was the compliance, you see. So EBV entered the consciousness, established a geometry within my field, and did its work, right? It did its thing. EBV is very interesting because uh, it's a virus that can lead to many chronic illnesses. Hashimoto's, thyroid dysfunctions, imbalances, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue. These are some of the chronic conditions that Epstein-Barr virus is actually at the root cause of. So removing these pathogens, removing these parasites, I don't want to call them viruses anymore because they really are parasites, removing them from not just the physical plane, but also the mental, emotional, and spiritual levels really helps to liberate you, and it helps to liberate your frequency. Because when you hook up with one of these pathogens, it's for, again, it's for a learning and growing process, but it's not for forever, right? It's not for you to get stuck in a loop thinking, oh, this is me. This is, now I identify, right? I'm identifying as someone who has Epstein-Barr virus, or I'm identifying with someone who suffers with Hashimoto's, which used to be my personal story. In my healing process, I had to let go of those identities in order to truly heal on all levels, holistically, okay? So with viruses, they don't want you to let go of them. They don't want you to end your compliance and detach. There's actually a codependent relationship that forms, right? And it's true for all parasites. They need you, and you kind of need it. So there's a very interesting need that forms there. So in order to break the bond between you and the pathogen, we have to really remove the need. And need in itself it's a consciousness as well. That's another geometry that spins illusions. It's like a neediness. So there's so much. I mean, we can really go down the rabbit hole here. And this is what we do in the sessions. We look to identify at the very core, the very, very root and seed of that particular pathogen or interference, right? And we want to talk to it because it's a consciousness. It's a consciousness as much as you are, right? And it's alive, and it's got something to say, it's got something to teach, it's got something to offer. So we want to actually drill down to the fundamental level of consciousness and meet it. And that's a way to eradicate, I'm going to use that word because this is what can happen, to eradicate that being, that pathogen. Also, in terms of alchemy, we can transform it. Okay, and this is what I saw in my case of healing herpes for clients and healing, or it was really eradicating Epstein-Barr virus for me. I actually met the consciousness of EBV, and it spoke to me and it said, I'm here to teach you about attack, right? The energy of attack, what it's like to feel attacked, psychic attack, physical attack. I was bullied a lot in childhood, in school, so that played out. And I always ask the question, why? I was like, why am I receiving this kind of treatment from my classmates? Why is bullying like just such a thing in my experience? I'd never understood it. It was like I was always just being me, kind of innocently walking through my life as me, and these things would happen, right? I would just kind of walk into a fight one day, and I was in the center of this fight, and I'm like, why? What did I do, right, to instigate this? And I know that there are a lot of people who can relate to that. And we have questions, right, that might not be settled yet in our awakening experience and our healing process, where we're like, why did these things happen, right? Like, I'm a good person. Why did I attract that? So I didn't learn until later in life that it's all consciousness, and that this consciousness, this grid work of attack, that which I wasn't holding, but it was the actual pathogen, the Epstein-Barr virus, was holding for me. It's deep. So there was so much relief and liberation in knowing that I wasn't causing the pain, okay? That I'm not the one to blame. I am co-creating this experience for a higher reason, so I can learn and grow as a soul. And I've contracted with this being that's Epstein-Barr virus. And once I've unraveled that consciousness and its framework, it no longer needs to exist, okay? Or it can change into something else. So changing a viral consciousness into something else is actually quite empowering and fun too. And this is something I experienced with herpes virus 1 and 2. This is something that it actually loves. The herpes virus is a consciousness that is very much it's a needy consciousness. It teaches us kind of codependency and need. It loves to go into kind of like the blind spots, right? The blind spots of our unconscious and subconscious realms. And it likes to hide out there and come out, come out when there's a need for it, when there's a need for drama, there's just a need. So what's really interesting with herpes is that we can bring in the light of source, the light of you, okay? Once we empower that, we bring in you and your soul song to meet the consciousness of herpes and actually teach herpes about love and wisdom. This is the other thing that we can do with viruses, with pathogens of all kinds, is not look to kind of unravel it and learn its gifts and then kick it out, but we can also change it. Because it, again, is just a consciousness. It's a wave pattern. And we are co-creating all of these waves, including this thing called COVID, including this thing called herpes, including this thing called Epstein-Barr, right? It's all just these wave patterns. And once we actually confront them, right, instead of holding ourselves hostage in the fear of, oh, I'm hopeless, I'm helpless, and I don't know what to do. Who do I see, right? What authority do I see? What specialist do I see? And all this can really like give your power over away. But once we actually learn that we are magnificent healers, each and every one of us has the ability to want to say take our power back, because that's really what it's about. But each and every one of us is powerful because we are creators. We're creator beings. And like I said before, it's all within our design. It's already there. Everything that we need is there to realize that. It's just a matter of removing, right, these illusions, the distortions, the density that block us from truly recognizing it, from seeing it, from feeling it, and from believing it. That the belief is really important. Sound is immense in helping us not just clear and release, okay, these illusions. It is paramount in carrying the infinite consciousness of your soul song, the infinite consciousness of your source into these darker parts of us, okay? These darker parts in our subconscious and unconscious places. And it's those darker parts, okay, that are weak, right, and are needing the love and the light. So it needs your attention. And we live in a culture that doesn't really teach that. It doesn't really celebrate or recognize the value of surrendering to your pain. Okay. Because instead, what we do is we teach each other to fix that pain, and to address that pain immediately with, the right expertise or the right medicine, or you know what I mean? It's like, just fix it, make it stop, make it go away, or deny it, push it out. That's not really confronting it with truth, with love, with acceptance, without judgment. When we're able to navigate our inner world this way, it is immensely powerful. And that is what we all have the capacity to do. And sound isn't there isn't a better teacher. I speak, that's my personal testimony. I feel like the crystal bowls and, toning, vocalizing, working with sound from my heart, it has completely saved my life. And it's opened me up to these realms of possibility that I didn't even know existed. So I didn't need, plant medicines or gateway openers to kind of open me up to these possibilities. It was really sound. Sound is a carrier of infinite consciousness. That's what it's really, really good at doing. It carries, the waters of healing, the waters of trust, the waters of awareness back to the places where we've forgotten, right? It stimulates and it clears, and it in itself is the reminder of who and what we are, right? Sound, geometry, energy, understanding life in these terms, then we start to really get just how powerful we are and how capable we are of healing ourselves and also healing the world. So it's all there. It's in the frequency of you. And it's really in unlayering, peeling away all this stuff that isn't you. Okay, pathogens included, other people's stuff included, right? Peeling off their fears and their ideas about you and their opinions and their beliefs. And really letting go of what isn't yours so you can come home to what is, right? What is truly you, beyond all of that, beyond what we've been conditioned to believe, beyond what we've been taught to accept and attach to and identify with. When we can work in this way, liberation happens, right? We get to decolonize our body, mind, and spirit of all these little bad guys. And they're not actually bad guys. They are, again, they're here to teach us. There's a gift in all of it. So, but yes, the colonization of our bodies is a very real thing. It's a very real thing, and it's deeply rooted in our history, right? How we colonized this planet and colonized other races, people, groups of people, colonizing, kind of conquering, taking over. That is an illusion, a program, a consciousness in itself. And when we actually go through our healing and awakening process and we realize the frequency of us, right? The true us that is of no harm, right? It's absolute love. And once we start to realize this and embody it and be it, that absolute love frequency is enough to dispel the deep colonization that is happening on our planet, that has happened before on other planets, that is happening even within the body. Okay, that's allowing parasitical influence and infection to happen. Okay, so another way to visualize this, to help you understand this is you beyond form, right? As a living consciousness, You are the sphere, a bubble of light, here to thrive. But there can be holes. There can be kind of weak areas in your sphere, right? Holes where the light of love isn't there, or there's the light of love wasn't given, or the light of love wasn't received in those areas. So that there could be a hole or a leak in your own sphere of consciousness and energy. And so, what the first thing that I do in any session is I want to read that. I want to see where your leaks are and identify them so we can plug them up. Okay. And once we start doing that, the frequency of your soul song can really be here and be strong. It can take up space. And it could be far more amplified and potent in this world where we've really been taught to be compromised, right? We've been taught to kind of live with these holes and these weaknesses and, kind of make that normal. Well, that doesn't have to be normal, right? We are through our healing process, creating a whole new normal. And it's exciting because it involves, our superhuman potential, which isn't really a potential, it's a capacity. It's a capacity. We are superhuman. We absolutely are. And it's, I always say this, it's people think that's not normal, so we call it superhuman, but it actually is. It is normal. And we need to flip the script now as we take back our power and we heal ourselves and we come back into what truly matters here in the soul and the heart. Resurrect that soul song, and we see just just how incredibly natural it is, how natural, how organic it is to be in your most powerful state. So, David, that's what I have to say.
Cool. That's what I have to say. Oh my God. Okay, so I've got a few questions and thoughts. This is where it gets fun. So, I had my healing crisis last year where I had blood clots in my leg. And I knew right from the beginning, the second that doctor said, you've got blood clots up and down your leg, I knew I had to go, it's done, right? And then all the healers, including you I talked to, and then this Stormy says, it's a done deal. Forget about it, right? But it was a serious discipline. I realized whenever I would get any thoughts of, oh God, this could move into my brain or move into whatever which it commonly does, percentage wise, right? I knew I had to stop that thought in a second. So it was serious discipline. I was a warrior. I was like, I am not going to go into fear. And now the blood clots are completely gone, right? It's interesting, of the different things you said, it seems like there's three ways, and see what you think and any comments you have here. One is kind of facing it and either expressing it or transforming it with sound. So it's like, right? And we have a lot of different techniques we teach about that. It's kind of like you could even think of the plugging it. So you are addressing it head on with its stuff, right? But you don't hang out there. You don't just go right, and find its frequency. You transform it. The second is like teaching it, like you said, sending it love, going right to it and going, I love you, right? Or
The third is to not even focus on it and simply go into love and light. Right? And just resonate that bliss. Right? Any thoughts on, I mean, I often think just to do all, but any thoughts on which or better or any of those three?
So I have a healing protocol that I've downloaded from Infinite Consciousness um, for every virus that I work with to transform or eradicate with my clients. And in these healing protocols, it's not just one. It's not just one approach. It is a holistic approach, and you have beautifully described um, those the principles, really the primary principles that we need to confront the consciousness itself of the thing. Okay, and we need that requires a very deep digging process. So we must be of already that frequency of of absolute acceptance and love, releasing the judgment. Because if we go into a session intending to heal something with judgment,
Yeah. You suck. No, you suck.
exactly,
No, you suck.
you destroyed my life for the last 30 years,
I
what I
hate you.
exactly. So we first need to entrain ourselves into the proper frequency, that which is all accepting and all love. So already you're going into the dark, if you will, this dark deep pit where we're going to meet the consciousness of the virus with God frequency, okay, with the frequency of source. That is something we're all capable of doing. And this is where it helps to have a guide by your side to help you navigate that if you haven't done that before. So that's kind of the first step in creating the miracle. And the other parts is in really truly listening again, which is, in the sound world, healing with sound is you must be very good at listening and attentive to the sounds and frequencies that you receive as the medicine. So listening to this consciousness and actually hearing what it has to say, so it can peel back the layers of regret or shame or beliefs that you had about it, judgments that you had about it, that can actually start to shift your feeling state, your emotional state. And the emotional body gets to purge. And this is something I didn't address, but this is really important. The emotional body tends to be the number one reason why disease is stuck in the body, and it's because we're not clearing out the emotions. We're still storing that unworthiness or that guilt. And it's these two energies, specifically unworthiness and guilt, must go. It must be purged from the body. These more chronic conditions, especially pathogenic ones, can be released because they feed. These parasites feed off of those energies. So that could be another reason why your body's not actually healing. It could be because we've neglected the emotional aspect, and it must be liberated. So there's many levels. We've got um, the spiritual, the mental, the physical, and the emotional. Then there's also planetary. Okay, the level of the planet, the planetary consciousness that the virus connects into. We've got to address and clear that. And the multidimensional. There's I mentioned colonization, that at the one of the foundations, if you will, of all viruses is this colonizer consciousness. And that is a very multidimensional thing. That's a galactic um, level of that which we bring the light to. So it's huge. I mean, it's not a simple process when we're dealing with viruses by any means. It could take several sessions, like a whole program and a protocol to really to do it justice and to see the shifts and results. But it's absolutely life-changing because you're really meeting you and your consciousness and where it's been kind of um, uh, interfered with or trapped on some level. So it's really cool.
So I know the one part that's really important is to get comfortable making sound, right? And of course, we teach that, and a lot of people teach that. But it's really just playing with sounds with your own voice, like expressing your own emotion, like expressing how you feel with a sound. Especially if you're scared, do it alone, right? Just like, okay, this is the way I'm feeling. Ah, right? Teach your kids to actually, express themselves with sound, and so that then you free yourself from those societal blockages that I'm not a good singer. That allow you to actually just to really express and let things go and access higher consciousness even.
That's huge. That's huge for healing. Because once we start, again, like I said in the beginning, this is not a language of words. It's not a language of the mind. It really is a language of consciousness. So, how do you access the language of consciousness? Move into primordial sounds. It's natural, organic sounds that come from not here, not your individual ego perspective, but from the bigger perspective that's in your heart and soul. It needs to come from infinite spirit, your
Cool,
connection to
cool. So I thought, see what you think about this idea. Okay, how about I do my own soul song, and you can like coach me if I don't just like completely go there.
That's a cool idea. Yeah, I love that. I
Okay,
absolutely love that.
okay, okay. Let's see. Okay, that means I got to drop in. Okay, okay. Seriously. Okay. I've said this is me. I know.
How are you feeling?
Good. It's interesting because at the end, I tune into the whole of what I just did, right? And there's the whole harmony, the little bit of fear in there of me, right? But the whole harmony of me, which is from the low to the highs, to the power, to the soft, to the sweet, to the intense, to grounded, to spirit open.
This is from my perspective of witness, objective witness, and that's really the key. Again, we have to perceive without judgment to really see the truth clearly and to be pure awareness. So from my state of awareness in witnessing David, I can very much feel and receive his current state as he's singing it, as he's toning it. He's making these sounds that are far beyond the mind. They're really just emanating from you, right? From you, beyond the block, beyond the veils. And I can really meet that level of authenticity and just in witnessing that and listening to that.
Nice. Okay, I've got a request that you can do or not. Let's hear your soul song.
Oh. Okay. So I'll show you. I'll show you. We can experience it together. I'm one with my source. I'm just gonna let that ground right now. As I open it, there's more. It just keeps going. It's like a fountain, and that's what it is with infinite consciousness. It's never ending, and that completely destroys any fear of death, right? It's like glimpsing your own immortality and glimpsing your own connection to everything else. It's so incredibly powerful.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. I saw past lives in there. And that joy that you are too. Miss Joy Bucket.
I've done a lot of work to liberate that.
Cool. Wow. Wow, what a pleasure. Okay, any last thoughts before we end?
Thank you, David. As always, it's just a joy to be in your company and also to be a part of what you're creating. It's really big, and I invite everyone to, to consider, to really consider their own soul song and where their blocks might be. Again, you are pure awareness. You do know. And to get in touch and consider the offerings that I have involved here in this space to help everyone get in touch with that. So
cool. Thank you so much, dear one.
Thank you.
I'm going to play the closing video now.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Visit newearth1.com.